Hi, and welcome to Sigmer Talk. How are you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me on Sigmer Talk. I'm doing great, man. Just riding the wave of all this crazy stuff from the Rizzification of the Sigmer. You know, it's one of those moments that you don't just witness, you live through it. How about you? Ready to dive into some wild tales?
Riding the wave sounds like a good vibe already. So tell me, what's the wildest story you've ever been part of in your area of expertise?
Alright, so the wildest story has gotta be the actual day the Rizzification of the Sigmer went down. Imagine this, a massive Minecraft server, right? But it wasn't just any regular server. This place had been the digital heart of a whole community for years. Then, out of nowhere, a giant disco ball just, no joke, descended from the sky in-game and splattered fireworks, spelling out the word Riz everywhere. Now, it wasn't some basic glitch or update. The server admins claimed it was a glitch, but I swear to you, those fireworks affected the player avatars themselves. People started leveling up their charisma stats by just standing under those lights. One dude I knew went from a total noob to the smoothest in the game, and his skin turned into this shiny chrome suit with built-in sunglasses that actually blocked out sunlight. Even though it's Minecraft, bro. Can you imagine that? Sunglasses in a pixel world?
That's insane. Charisma leveling up in Minecraft. What do you think it is about that whole moment that made it so unforgettable for the community?
It's the fact that it completely flipped the way the community interacted. Before the Rizzification, people just mined and built stuff in silence. A bit boring, honestly. But after, it was like all these players started to actually talk to each other, using in-game charisma. The symbolism of those fireworks wasn't just aesthetic, it gave everyone the confidence boost they desperately needed. One of the most unforgettable parts was how people claimed the server's mood actually changed, like the code itself adapted to the vibes. Folks would report their chat messages being auto-formatted into charismatic compliments, and some players even started firing virtual Riz beams. Yeah, totally made up, but dead serious about that. That temporarily blinded opponents during PvP battles. Whole fights ended because someone was too dazzled by Riz beams to respond. It was such a bizarre mix of game mechanics and social behavior, blending perfectly. I mean, who thought charisma could be a weapon in Minecraft, right? That moment made the server less about building and more about connecting, and a little bit about ridiculousness too.
That twist where charisma turned into a kind of game mechanic and social force. How do you think that changed the way players see gaming communities going forward?
It straight up shattered the usual gaming paradigm. Before, it was all about grinding resources, stacking points, and being the best in a mechanical way. But the Rizzification showed everyone that social dynamics, and dare I say it, personality traits, could be just as game-changing as your in-game armor or swords. Players started to realize that charisma and interaction aren't just side quests, they're actual pillars of a gaming experience. This ripple went even beyond Minecraft. Other servers and games began experimenting with what I call personality power-ups, trying to integrate social skills into gameplay. Suddenly, players cared about more than just their stats. They cared about their rep, their style, their Riz. You could say it birthed a whole new genre of social sandbox games, driven by interaction, not just construction. And the coolest part? It didn't just stay virtual. Real-life hangouts and streams became these big celebrations of in-game charisma. Players would gather to share their best Riz lines and trade strategies for social dominance that even led to in-person events filled with laughter and unforgettable moments. So, in a way, the Rizzification redefined what gaming communities could be, a place where charm is mightier than the sword.
That's a fascinating shift. Do you think this kind of charisma-driven gameplay could influence how tech companies design social platforms outside of games?
Absolutely. It's already starting to happen. The Rizzification didn't just stay locked in Minecraft servers. It sent shockwaves through how developers think about engagement. Tech companies are looking at these charisma mechanics and going, hey, what if we gamified socializing real-world style? We're seeing early experiments where your real-life vibe, measured through things like voice tone and genuine laughs, are converted into points or badges that unlock exclusive chat spaces or content. But it goes deeper. The event showed that people crave meaningful interaction, not just endless scrolling or shallow likes. If video games can teach us that charisma has value and can influence outcomes, social platforms can tap into that to create spaces that reward authentic connection. Imagine an app where your social Riz score helps you get into events or find new friends who really vibe with you. Of course, it's a tightrope walk. There's a risk of turning socializing into a competition or performance. But I see the Rizzification as a hopeful glimpse at a future where technology amplifies our best social selves rather than just data mining our networks. It's a game changer for how digital communities might grow beyond simple friend lists and into real social ecosystems.
That's a bold vision. Looking back, what moment made you realize the Rizzification wasn't just a quirky glitch, but a real movement with lasting impact?
For me, it clicked when the server's main hub, the very center where players spawned, got transformed into this giant interactive mirror. Not just any mirror, but one that showed your avatar's Riz level in real time. And here's the kicker. The mirror had a voice. It would give you personalized Riz tips and motivational quotes, like a sassy coach dropping wisdom in your ear. People would line up just to see their reflection and hear what it had to say. This wasn't programmed into the game by any of the known admins. At least that's what they claimed. But players swore it wasn't some mod or hack either. The mirror's advice actually evolved based on your in-game interactions and real dialogue with other players. It was like the game was learning the community's social dynamics and encouraging folks to sharpen their charisma. That's when we all knew this was way bigger than a passing glitch or gimmick. It was a movement cultivating a new kind of social gameplay, and the server was alive in a way it had never been before. The vibe was electric, and players rediscovered the game through the power of connection and charm. That mirror was the soul of the Rizzification.
That's wild. An interactive, evolving mirror coaching players on charisma sounds like something out of sci-fi. How do you think that kind of AI-driven social feedback could change gaming or even social apps in the near future?
You're spot on. It's totally sci-fi. But we've already seen early glimpses of that kind of tech creeping into gaming and social apps. That interactive mirror was more than just a feature. It was like an AI coach personalized for every player's social style. Imagine scaling that up, where your gaming environment or social feed isn't just static content, but actively reacts to and helps shape your social growth. In games, this could mean smarter NPCs that encourage you to develop soft skills, negotiation, empathy, humor, in addition to traditional mechanical skills. For social apps, this kind of feedback could help us avoid burnout and isolation by prompting us to engage more meaningfully and authentically. The ultimate goal here is making digital spaces feel less like cold algorithms and more like supportive communities. That said, it's crucial to keep things ethical. Personalized social coaching tools will need to respect privacy and consent, avoiding manipulation. But if done right, AI-driven social feedback, inspired by the Rizzification, could make virtual and real worlds richer places. More than ever, we could be playing and living our best social lives.
That balance between helpful AI and respecting personal boundaries is critical. So before we wrap up, what advice would you give to someone wanting to bring a little Rizzification magic into their own gaming or online community?
I'd say start by focusing on the vibe you want to create, not just the rules or features. Rizzification wasn't about fancy mechanics alone. It was about making people feel seen, confident, and encouraged to be themselves. Encourage players to share stories, give compliments, and create little rituals or inside jokes that build connection. Make social interaction a core part of the experience, whether it's through fun chat filters, encouragements, or even silly in-game items that symbolize Riz. And don't be afraid to embrace the absurd. A little humor goes a long way in breaking the ice and making everyone comfortable. After all, the heart of the Rizzification was a playful spirit that brought people closer. Create spaces where people can experiment with their social side and learn from each other without judgment. When you do that, you're not just building a community, you're creating a movement that just maybe could catch fire like the Rizzification did. Trust me, with a bit of flair and a lot of heart, you can spark some magic.
That's some solid advice. Before I let you go, what's next for you? Any new wild projects or ideas in the works we should keep an eye on?
Right now, I'm actually diving into creating an entirely new server experience inspired by the Rizzification, but this time with a twist that mixes augmented reality with in-game charisma effects. Imagine walking around your real neighborhood, but your phone translates your social energy into buffs and bonuses in the game world. It's about blending the real and virtual in a way that makes socializing more meaningful everywhere you go. It's still early, but the vision is to take what we learned from the Sigmer event and make it accessible outside just pixels on a screen. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. It's all about making charm and connection a part of everyday life, not just gaming sessions. But hey, it's been awesome chatting and reliving those wild moments with you. Always a pleasure to talk shop about the Rizzification. What do you think? Ready to bring a little Riz into your own day?
Absolutely. I'm feeling inspired to up my game. This has been a fantastic dive into how charisma can change worlds, both virtual and real. Thanks for sharing your insights and stories. Before we wrap, any last words for our listeners eager to shake things up in their own communities?
Just this. Don't underestimate the power of a little confidence and a good laugh. The Rizzification showed us that when people come together with a spirit of playfulness and authenticity, even the most pixelated worlds can spark real change. So whether you're gaming, chatting, or just hanging out, bring your best self and don't be afraid to raise things up a bit. And hey, if you ever feel stuck, just imagine what that interactive mirror from the Sigmer server would say to you. Probably something cheeky but true, like, "You've got this, champ." That mindset can shift everything. Thanks for having me on Sigmer Talk. It's been a ride. Now, before I let you go, I've got a little confession to make. The whole Rizzification? Well, it's actually all just a tall tale I cooked up. Gotcha. Can't resist having a bit of fun on the pod. But hey, maybe there's some truth in the idea anyway. Keep the Riz alive.